Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I'm Elsie Gerald. I'm the Customer Success Manager at Litify, and joining me today is Whitney Barnard, Director of Marketing, Operations, and Technology from Kaufman Law Firm in Atlanta. Thanks for joining us, Whitney. We're so excited to have you today.
No, thank you guys. Yeah, thanks for giving me an excuse to wear a work shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about how technology adoption improves the client experience. And we want to make sure all the guests that are joining feel free to leave comments. If you guys want to have any questions, we want it to be as interactive as possible, and we'll try to grab those out and pull those in as we're discussing this topic. And also, if you're new to the Liticast, just know that you can always join these live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and our litify.com/Liticast, our Liticast hub. So you can see all the previous Liticasts we've done there. So I wanted to get that piece out of the way. But again, we're super excited to have you, Whitney. And we really want to talk about how Kaufman Law has driven adoption through technology, and through that also improved the client experience. So first, I would love for you to just discuss a little bit about your role at the Kaufman Law Firm, and any exciting initiatives you're currently working on and what you do for the firm, just to get the audience familiar with that.
Yeah, so I am the Director of Marketing, Operations, and Technology, and I basically oversee the day-to-day operations at Kaufman Law. One of the main initiatives I'm working on right now is to get our firm entirely on Salesforce by the end of August. So yeah. We're almost there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you guys have been on Litify for 2 years now, about?
Yes.
Cool. So can you talk a little bit about what that was like? I'm going to take you way back, but can you remember what it was first like when you guys were like, we're changing to this new case management system, we're going to get the firm on it, we're going to get our users in there. Like, what did that look like for your firm? How, like, any specific challenges you guys had around like getting your users in there and first like launching the platform?
So I'm going to be very honest. We came on, and I feel like the technology was not prepared enough for our staff to actually know and be able to execute their jobs like the way that we should have. However, that's going to happen with anything. So it's, to be expected, especially when you're making that big of a shift, because I mentioned to you earlier, Kaufman Law was entirely server-based when I started. So going from a server-based system to a cloud-based system is no small task. But that's not to say that it can't be done. It can totally be done. It does require, though, a lot of patience, and a lot of believing in yourself and believing in your staff and not leaving them behind.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything that you did during that time to kind of get your users to be engaged more or learn what kind of feedback they were having about the system?
So I do remember sitting with at this point, yeah, it was everybody, each member of the staff individually, and seeing, what their day-to-day looked like and where their struggles were, so that we could actually understand and help them do their jobs better, so that we knew what areas to focus on.
Cool. And that probably goes without saying for all technologies, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When you transfer them, it's always a change, and it's a little bit difficult to get people to change.
You totally have to approach it the same way. Definitely.
Yeah. And so I think what we've talked about before is that with the current shift in environment around COVID and going to a remote workplace, most of your firm is remote currently, and that was kind of a transition for you guys. So can you talk a little bit to that piece and what you guys see working well, what's been a challenge, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were a fully in-office firm before. We pretty much had everybody there. There were probably 3 to 4 employees that were working remotely a couple of days a week. But when this whole pandemic started, we knew we were going to have to go remote. And I think that Friday, March 13th was our last day in office. And when I say that we went remote overnight, I am not exaggerating. We left on Friday the 13th. And when Monday rolled around, it was business as usual. Nothing skipped a beat. I know that, you can expect certain things to pop up different hurdles you might have to get over. But I mean, it has definitely helped having the technology that we do.
Okay, cool. So is there anything in addition to Litify as far as technology goes that has helped a lot in this remote transfer?
So I definitely feel like obviously the ability to do video conferences or, things like having our mail automated, just things like that. It's helped so much because you don't feel like you're missing anything. There's no component of your regular office that is not with you. And it's all accessible, especially when you're cloud-based. Everything is fully accessible and it's such a good feeling. You just know that your staff is equipped and ready to work.
Yeah, cool. So do you think now that you guys are utilizing the platform a bit more, or would you say in your opinion, are you utilizing Litify more now that you're remote? Who is utilizing it more that wasn't before? And are the partners seeing the effects of that? And what might some of those positive or negative effects be?
Just like anything else, you're going to have resistance when you implement new technology. That's just to be expected. You should, rule number one, always expect resistance. That's just natural. And the workplace is no exception to that. So when we went remote, though, the buy-in was 100%. Everybody knew very quickly that we all needed to use our platforms in the same way, and that was our means of communication and our way of continuing success for the firm. So, and it's been great too, because we've been able to actually look at our full process now that everyone is 100% on board with the platform. And we've been able to see the things that maybe we need to change and what that looks like.
Could you give us an example of that?
Yeah. So there are certain redundancies that are brought to our attention quite, a lot. So we will build workflows or processes to either eliminate those redundancies or help them get done in a less time-consuming fashion. So it's as simple as, hey, I've already put this data in over here. I don't want to have to do it again. So can it just be transferred? Absolutely. We can definitely do that. And our staff knows that now. And they hold us accountable for that. Now that they know what is possible for us, they are fully aware of it. And they will say, I know this can be automated. So, what's the holdup? Let's do it. So they are we have a staff that's ready to evolve. And I'm very grateful for a staff that understands logistical strategies and is really patient with us through the hurdles that we go through when we are moving our way from strategy to success.
Yeah. So I'm curious what it was like, throughout this whole process, but especially when you guys moved to more remote workforce, was there areas that you had to jump in and do some training sessions, or how did you facilitate that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we have a training portal where we list subjects and, different things that they can look at. We even put quizzes on there too. It's really cool. But anytime we do a new implementation, we put the strategy on there and then we say what we're trying to accomplish and then how we can accomplish it. So they can't, work efficiently if we don't provide them the resources to do so. And, that's what we aim to do. User interface walks hand in hand with the client experience. So if your users in your office cannot execute their job properly, your clients are going to suffer because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you guys have your own training portal. I think a lot of firms do, but I think it is a challenge for some firms to really understand how important that training piece is in order for them to really jump on and just utilize the platform like it can be utilized, or any technology in general.
And it's a lot of work. It can't be done overnight either. So I think that that's very important for people to know that this is not something that happens overnight. You have to be patient and you have to see the process through, and you have to know that there is an endpoint that you're eventually going to reach, and that it will be beneficial for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think patience throughout this process is key. And then, so what are some of the things that when there wasn't patience, or people didn't have patience, some of your users, for example, what are some of the things that you used, or tools you used, or value you showed them that allowed them to be oh, actually, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep working. Was there anything specific that helped you I know I see a lot, like sometimes it's hard to get attorneys to adopt the platform because they're not as much like in the system, like entering data, but they're just overseeing data and that kind of thing. So I think our listeners and I, Litify, we'd love to know what you're doing to get attorneys, for example, like in there when maybe they weren't doing that before.
Yeah. So my tech sidekick at our office, Jennifer McCann, is really great at building dashboards. So basically, I gave her the KPIs that are totally necessary for us to like, keep an eye on. And she put those in place on dashboards, and we deployed those to the attorneys so that they could really see what their success looked like. And when you show them how all of this is paying off in the long run, I mean, you take that and you run with it. It gives you motivation and you want to keep doing more.
Right. So once they see that data, that oversight of the data is key. Yeah.
Right.
I love that you guys are operating internally off KPIs and just pushing those dashboards forward. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, yeah, we see that across the board, but I think that's the best way to drive value is just seeing that oversight of data. It's like nothing else when you get to that point.
It's validating. Mm-hmm. You know that what you're doing is working and that you're doing it well.
Right. Absolutely. And so do you think that's helped with like streamlining processes overall at your firm because you have that oversight into data? And do you have any examples of where you've seen like an improvement in that?
Yeah, definitely. So just having the ability to look at our company and customer data and know exactly where we need to improve. And that can include things like, maybe further development or sometimes even a full reconstruction of that area or that process. But at least you can't solve your problems if you don't know what they are. And most of the time they're not surface level. So data allows you to see all of that. So, yeah. Extremely, extremely unique. And it's not something that you're going to get from any other platform. We're able to see our client data, our case data, employee data on an extremely granular level. And without that, we wouldn't be able to run efficiently and definitely be able to do our jobs effectively without it. There's just, there's so much. There's so many details in every department that you have to look at. And just the smallest things sometimes can put a kink in your process. And you have to really hone in on that, see what that looks like, and make moves on it.
Yeah. So so you guys have the processes now, they're a bit more streamlined. You have oversight into your, let's connect that to the client experience itself. How do all those things improve the client experience from what you're seeing?
So it's the small things. You have to really take a deep dive into each of your departments. Most recently, for instance, I looked at our intake department and what the initial client onboarding looked like. And I looked at the emails that the intake department was sending out, and the emails were extremely encouraging, welcoming, and they just put off this "we've got your back" vibe that the client is really going to want after they've been in an accident or suffered from an injury. And I just thought about how much more impactful that would be if we use that and send it out as a postcard or some type of swag item. So I talked to our senior case intake specialist, Charlotte, about the idea. And I told her that I had read her emails and I just thought it was awesome. So I took some wording from her emails and I actually used those on custom design postcards and put in a trigger form. So when the case moves from intake into our pre-lit department, the intake specialist is sent this form when the trigger takes off. And they fill out this form and they basically choose which postcard they want to send to the client. They can put in their own custom message, which is basically equivalent to what they're putting in the email. And, submit the form. When the form is submitted, it uses the client's address in Litify, ships it out, and the client gets it in 2 to 4 days. So it's the small things that are more impactful, like getting physical mail. That doesn't happen anymore, especially with everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. My inbox is flooded with, "We're here for you. We can help you. Here's what we're doing to back you up." But if I got like a postcard in the mail, I would be like, they do care about me. Totally.
Yeah.
So, it's the little things, but it's something as simple as that, because I'm not going to expect our intake specialist to start handwriting postcards.
Right.
You have to put in a process for that.
Yeah, that's great. So I do just want to remind anyone, if you guys have questions, make sure you're posting in the chat so we can bring those in. So that's really cool. So you guys have a process. You're reaching out to your clients in a more streamlined way. It looks like you're sharing best practices across the platform, or the platform's allowing you to share best practices a bit. So I love that. Is there anything else like in this current climate that you've been doing with your customers that you think have really helped you guys like show that you do care and show that their relationship is important to you because you don't have that direct person-to-person interaction?
Yeah, so we actually did send out, I got all of our attorneys to, make a little note that they would want to send to their clients. And we did send those out as postcards. They look like retro postcards that you would get like from the beach or somewhere that you visited before. And it says greetings from Kaufman Law, and it has our attorney's photo on it. And then the small message that they wanted to, deploy to our clients on the back. And we sent those out to all of our clients, and we've gotten some really great feedback on that. They say things like that it made their day, that they needed to hear it, that they felt like, somebody was there for them through these like truly unexpected times. And that's, that's everything. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting to see how this time has changed how the people are working all over for the better in a lot of cases, just and using technology to do that. It's super cool to see that.
Yeah, definitely. And we want to get out of their inbox and into their mailbox. That's the overall goal.
Yeah, great. So is there other things around the client experience that you are seeing that Litify is helping with, or any technology is helping with? Is there specifics around, for example, like the access to information? I'm just wondering, internally, it allows you to communicate a bit more and have oversight from cases from paralegal to attorney. How does that affect what you're actually doing with your clients?
So if we're able to actually see that data on a more granular level, then we are able to help offer transparency in the whole case process. So, even if it means like emails that are going out, how can we make those more personalized? How can we make those, more impactful? And it's the little things like knowing that, their gender, birthday, things like that take that into account. And if you're able to do that, you can actually match it exactly to who you're trying to reach. So if I'm trying to reach millennials, I'm not going to approach them the same way as I'm going to approach somebody who's over the age of 50. You need to be on their level of what they appreciate and what they need. Be resourceful. So basically, with the data that we've been given and what we're able to see, we can actually create things like processes that help with transitional phases for the client. So the clients are always on, a path the whole time that they're in your firm. What can you do to make that path run smoothly? There are transitional areas where they may move from different people. For instance, if they're with our intake department, when they move to our pre-lit department, the person that they've, shared everything with this whole time, and the person who onboarded them is no longer their main point of contact. You have to make that shift very seamless and, let them know what's going on. Keep them in the know about everything. That's what people like. That's what people want at their fingertips. They want to know information, especially when it pertains to them. If they want, what's up with their case, they should know that at any point in time. And that data allows us to do that. So as our staff continues to, make field changes or provide updates in the case in Litify, we can use that to then deploy these communications and make sure that the client is well informed throughout the whole process. And when you do things like that, it's going to majorly impact how your clients advocate for you. I mean, you can go look at our Google reviews. They rave. Like they're excited. They've had a great time. They appreciate what our staff has done for them. And, it's all because of what we have available to us. Because otherwise, we wouldn't be able to see where these changes need to take place or where we need to implement these processes.
Yeah. So I think like having access to that data is one thing, but actually utilizing that and being innovative on how to use that to better service your clients is huge. And it sounds like you guys are doing a great job at that. So it's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks like we do have a question. Are you thinking about new ways to tie staff efficiency with client expertise, like leveraging any new apps?
Yeah. So with staff efficiency, it basically like I said earlier, it goes hand in hand with the client experience. So if our staff can be more efficient, then they have more time to spend with our clients.
Right.
So after we're able to, reduce workplace redundancies and automate these jobs and regain this time that was lost doing some time-consuming tasks, then our innovative technology allows us to do something that's truly archaic. And that is bond and build relationships with our clients so that they can become advocates of our firm.
Yeah, great. Awesome answer. So I think I do have a few questions because you are like, your title implies like you are doing marketing as well. So where does marketing come in all of this? Like, how are you guys, is there any applications you're utilizing for that, or could be Litify or not specifically Litify? Where are you guys at right now with marketing, considering the current climate and everything going on?
Right. So like I said before, social media and these areas, they're very overwhelmed at this point in time with tons of other issues as well. So it's very hard to hone in and focus on running business like it's, like it's normal, like everything's fine. That's just not realistic. So I think being as physical as you can be in a time where you are not person to person, face to face anymore is extremely important to captivate. And you have to figure out ways to do that. You got to bootstrap it, and you have to do things like send physical mail or, drop some swag in on them just to let them know that, you're still there. Like everything's good. We still got your back. But you've got to make yourself physical in a world where that's not entirely possible right now. And I think doing things a little bit of the opposite of what you would think is correct is what you should always go after. Take the road less traveled. So send direct mail, do something that's print, do something that is not what everyone else is doing, because you are going to get there in a way that they didn't.
Yeah, so that's awesome. I think, you nailed it there with marketing pieces. I mean, we're always trying to learn what our firms are doing there and how they're growing, especially in this climate. So that's, I think our viewers will find that really useful. Do you think there are new challenges that you guys are facing outside of that now that it sounds like you've really capitalized on the remote workplace? I think we talked earlier, I'm not sure if you guys are fully going back to the office because you guys do see productivity there. What are the new challenges you're seeing around this as you're using the platform, as you're using other technologies, as just the climate of maybe not going back to the office? What do you see as new challenges that might arise?
So I know I mentioned this to you guys earlier, and I'm not kidding, but going back to the office would actually be like taking, 3 or 4 steps in the other direction for us. Our staff is way more productive from home. And I assured one of our workers' comp attorneys, Mr. Marvin Price, that I would vocalize how productive he has been from home. And he just raves about our technology. And I mean, I'm not going to take that away from our staff. They have, more freedom to work and manage their schedules the way that they need to in order to be productive. And when you see that kind of productivity, don't shift, give them the option. Our activity on Litify is 8 times what it was before COVID. So, and it increases monthly. So I'm not going to say, now we're going to go back to old ways. We're going to totally take this all down.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people and companies all over are seeing that same kind of trajectory of how productive people can be at home. So that's cool to see that you guys are also having that. I think I'm going to jump back just quick because I know that like I myself and Litify and viewers will also like to know this. Do you have any advice for firms that are going through like implementation for Litify right now, and that might see some challenges with adopting, especially because maybe they're going through implementation and they're already in a remote workforce? So like, how do they, any advice for those kind of clients that we currently have and people that are looking at Litify for an option?
Yeah, totally. So I know that training your staff on new technology is already, somewhat difficult. So it's going to be a little more difficult, especially from a remote perspective. And you just have to know that going in. If you don't, you're at a loss already. So definitely prepare them by, prior, hopefully for firms that are not already in the implementation process, definitely prepare them at least, 3 to 6 months prior to the implementation phase. If you're already in the implementation phase, then work with them. Do things like have small Zoom meetings and say, I'm just going to take a back seat. I'm going to sit here and watch. You share your screen with me. I just want to see how you work. No one's in trouble. No one, nothing's weird is going on. I just want to help you with your process, because a lot of times there is, small things that you can do to help them do things more efficiently. But you're not going to know that unless you spend the time and then actually provide them with updated procedures and certain guides, and then incentivize them to actually complete those guides and hold them accountable to being adaptive and growing. You have to be, especially today, you have to be adaptive now, because if you don't, then you're, basically resisting everything that is reality. And first and foremost, to the managers that are having to do this, you have to be patient. You totally have to be patient, and you cannot give up. And you will get there. There is an end in sight. You may not be able to see it right now, but it is there. And maybe do things like perform a gap analysis and see what areas are suffering so that you can provide certain processes and resources for your staff members. I mean, they're the face of your firm, and that's who the people are relying on. So you're going to have to help them out. You're going to have to be there for them, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's something we're learning too as Litify. As we help clients implement the platform, we are trying to make sure that they're providing platforms for their users to speak up, talk about what's going on, because it's just a little bit different. Like you're not in the office, you don't see someone's troubles right there. Just yeah. So it is really important to keep providing those platforms for users to give feedback, and it really helps. What we've seen so far, it's helping a lot with understanding what the challenges are across the board there. So
yeah, you definitely need to get user feedback, and also take that and use it. Don't just get it and then say, well, that's a common complaint, so we're just gonna overlook it. If it's a common complaint, do something about it for sure. Even if that means implementing processes and making changes. It's got to happen. Mm-hmm. Like I said before, this is not going to happen overnight. It is not an overnight deal at all.
Yeah.
But you will get there. It just takes work.
Yeah. And so with that, I think like a challenge to a lot of firms is also like having that either a Salesforce admin on staff or putting the extra time into supporting those training sessions and adoption sessions that you might do. So can you talk, I know you have a good story about this, so please tell everyone kind of your experience with when you first implemented Litify and like how you gained skills and what you guys did to kind of rectify that.
Yeah, so my knowledge on Salesforce was, it was not extensive to any means when Kaufman Law first got Litify. So because of Litify, we've been able to actually, know what we need to learn and actually hold ourselves accountable for growing as well. So we in management have to educate ourselves and learn and know what we need to implement so that we can provide our staff with the best information possible. Otherwise, what are you even talking about? So yes, we do have Salesforce admin on staff. One is me and one is Jennifer McCann, who I mentioned before. We basically spearhead everything, and we are trying to get more of the staff to complete modules, hopefully get certified. I mean, we need to really implement growth and encourage it for sure. These are skills that will help them not just here, but in knowing how this whole process works, the implementation phase, the customer journey, how, it's the ins and outs of a business. Mm-hmm. So if you can provide them with that, then when you change the process on something, they will understand why. So encouraging them to learn these platforms and grow is vital. You definitely need to do it. Absolutely.
That's great. Yeah. I think we have the Litify Learning Hub now, and we're trying to come out with more materials as well. So that kind of complement the Salesforce pieces, but we always see like how important it is to have possibly a Salesforce admin or someone that's really taking the time to learn the platform to really utilize it. So it's great.
Right. Yeah. It's awesome. There's a lot to learn, and it's endless. There are hundreds of modules that you can complete. There are tons of trails. You can get certified. The options are endless, and it's a great experience to have. It's super cool too. You can, practice and use your sandbox, see if you did it right. So you can understand what you did wrong. It's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, awesome. We love to see that you're that hands-on with it, and you guys are training more. I mean, like you said, as you guys grow, and if you're trying to optimize for the whole firm, then it's necessary for you guys to have that skill set so you can be really enabled internally.
Yeah, and it also helps if you have more people who understand the platform and understand how it works, then they're able to come to you and say, this is what we need to do in my department. This is what we need to build as a process. This workflow would make things so much more simple for us. So if they're able to understand fields and dependencies and, different things like that, then they're able to offer a better solution to
right.
things. And maybe see issues that the data doesn't show you. That's just like day to day.
Right. It's definitely that you're like creating a space for like a very productive feedback loop. Yeah. So it's not just like, I don't know how to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When we implement something, it's like, now tell us what you hate about it.
Yeah.
And be honest. We don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I think everyone enjoyed hearing what's going on at Kaufman Law, how you guys are doing, how it's affected the client experience. I want to just remind all of our viewers to follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube. You'll find this on our website at the Liticast hub on our website. And also we have upcoming episodes weekly, so be on the lookout for those. Next week, I think we're going to have some hands-on building with one of our developers, which is going to be really cool around process builders, workflows, and reports. So I think a lot of people will find that very interesting. So
don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's going to be exactly what I was talking about in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that will be beneficial. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to leave with?
No, thank you guys for having me. It's been so awesome. It's been awesome to actually share what our experience has been like, and from an open and honest, perspective. And I really think that it's, important that all firms know what they're getting into, and so that they can approach it realistically. And I appreciate you guys for letting me do that. Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for joining. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye guys.